In 1540, England was a kingdom ruled by a man whose desires had already cost two queens their crowns, and one her life. King Henry VIII, now in his late 40s, weary and ailing, turned his eyes to a young, vibrant girl of just 14. Her name was Catherine Howard. She would become his fifth wife, and the last he would love with such reckless abandon. A discovered secret diary of Marjorie Tilney's, Catherine's Howard, chief lady-in-waiting, speaks of the young queen's final hours. Marjorie Tilney's diary, July 28, 1540.
Her Majesty danced before the king again tonight. She laughs easily, like a girl untouched by fear. He watches her with hungry eyes. It unsettles me. When I help her into her gowns, she hums little songs and teases me. She is no queen, not yet. But by morning, she shall be.
Marjorie Tilney's diary. Entry, August 1st, 1540.
Her Majesty is radiant, like the sun on an August morning. Today she wore a gown of deep emerald green that made her eyes sparkle like they held secrets. The king, old and limping though he is, watches her with the eyes of a lovesick boy. We whisper behind fans that he's utterly besotted. But I wonder, can a girl barely grown truly understand the danger of being adored by a man who has killed for love?
Just weeks after the annulment of his disastrous marriage to Anne of Cleves, Henry VIII married Catherine Howard. She was everything Anne was not: young, flirtatious, vivacious, and she quickly became the glittering gem of Henry's court. Marjorie Tilney's diary, September 10th, 1540.
The court is dizzy with joy. Her Majesty dances each night, music echoing through the halls like a heartbeat. She teases the king with playful words and lures him with youthful charm. Yet when she meets Thomas Culpepper's eyes across the room, her cheeks bloom like roses. There is something there, something dangerous.
But court life was not just about gowns and music. Beneath the polished surface were secrets, ones that had followed Catherine from her youth at Lambeth, where she lived under the loose guardianship of the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk. It was there she had experienced her first romantic entanglements: Henry Manox, a music tutor, and Francis Derham, a man she once called her fiancé. These names, once whispers, would later roar. Marjorie Tilney's diary, October 2nd, 1540.
Mistress Joan Bulmer, a woman from Lambeth, appeared at court today. My lady turned pale as marble. I saw her take the Queen aside and whisper something urgent. That night Catherine wept in silence. I held her hand as she said, "They must not know, Marjorie. If they find out, I am no queen."
But the Queen had more than past indiscretions to fear. In time, rumours began to swirl, this time of a new relationship, not from her girlhood, but from the royal court itself. Thomas Culpepper, a groom of the King's chamber, was said to be a favourite of the Queen's. Servants talked, doors creaked, notes passed, and the walls had ears. Marjorie Tilney's diary, November 3rd, 1540.
A letter from Master Culpepper found its way into Her Majesty's chambers. She bid me leave, but I heard the paper unfold behind me. I fear what she writes back. He is bold, too bold, and I fear bold men in the shadow of the king.
Marjorie Tilney's diary, June 18th, 1541.
Tonight I stood watch outside her door, inside Thomas Culpepper. My hands trembled. The Queen said it was harmless, just words between friends, but I could hear the urgency in her voice, the breathlessness. I love her like a sister, but this is madness.
In the autumn of 1541, as the court toured the north, Queen Catherine was at her most powerful, but it was then that her enemies struck. Archbishop Cranmer placed a letter in the king's private pew, outlining the Queen's alleged misdeeds. Henry VIII, once the ardent lover, became the raging tyrant. Marjorie Tilney's diary, November 5th, 1541.
They came for her in the night. Her Majesty screamed, a sound I'll never forget. The guards tore her away like she were a criminal, not a queen. She looked back at me as they dragged her down the corridor, whispering, "Marjorie, pray for me." I collapsed. I have prayed every day since.
Francis Derham was arrested, tortured, and confessed to his premarital relationship with the Queen. Thomas Culpeper was next, his connection with Catherine more damning. Both men were executed, and Catherine, still only 19 years old, was imprisoned at Sion Abbey, awaiting her fate. Marjorie Tilney's diary. Entry, December 1st, 1541.
She has not eaten. The Queen stares out the window all day. She said she hears music at night, but there is none. She has begun to speak to God aloud. I think she is asking to be forgotten.
Marjorie Tilney's diary. Entry, February 10th, 1542.
The axe is being sharpened. Tomorrow, they say. She asked for the block to be brought to her room, to practice laying her head upon it. My heart has split in two. She said to me I die a queen, but never truly lived as one.
On February 13th, 1542, Catherine Howard was executed at the Tower of London. She wore a black velvet gown and spoke with quiet grace. Her final words, it is said, were for Thomas Culpeper. "I die a queen, but would rather die the wife of Culpeper." Whether those words were truly spoken, we cannot know. But her story echoes through history as both cautionary tale and tragic romance. Marjorie Tilney's final diary entry, February 14th, 1542.
She is gone. The laughter, the music, the sparkle in the corridors, all gone with her. Her beauty could not save her. Her charm could not protect her. She was too young, too wild, and far too alive for a court built on silence and fear. I have buried my heart with her.
Catherine Howard's story was brief but unforgettable. The fifth wife of Henry VIII, once his rose without a thorn, was plucked from life before her bloom had truly opened. And yet, even now, her name is spoken not with scorn, but with sorrow.